Assalamualaikum. Today we will discuss the status of women in Islam. Prior to Islam, a woman was regarded by her parents as a threat to family honor and worthy of burial alive. As an adult, she was a sex object that could be bought, sold and inherited. From this position of inferiority and legal incapacity, Islam raised women to a position of influence and prestige in family and society. The rights and responsibilities of women are equal to those of men, but they are not necessarily identical. This difference is understandable because men and women are different in their physiological makeup. With this distinction in mind, there is no room for a Muslim to imagine that women are inferior to men. It is perhaps more apt to refer to the Islamic approach on gender relations as one of equity rather than the commonly used word equality, which could be misunderstood to mean equality in every minute aspect of life rather than overall equality. The glorious Quran and the history of early Muslims bear witness to the fact that women are considered as vital to life as men. Islam refuted the idea that Eve tempted Adam to disobey Allah and caused his downfall. The Quran says that they both disobeyed and neglects the idea that women are a source of evil. In a world where women were no more than objects of sexual gratification for men, and at a time when the religious circles argued over whether women were human or not, Allah says in Surah Hujurat, "O mankind, we created you from a single pair of a male and a female. Men and women are from the same family and have similar rights and duties, and their Lord Allah says in the Quran in Surah Imran, Never will I waste the work of a worker among you, whether male or female, the one of you being from the other." In the Islamic tradition, a woman has an independent identity. She is responsible in her own right and carries the burden of her moral and spiritual obligations. In the social aspect, women have the right to education as men do. Almost 14 centuries ago, Prophet Muhammad declared that the pursuing of knowledge is obligatory on every Muslim, whether male or female. This declaration was very clear and was largely implemented by Muslims throughout history. Islam elevated the position of women in society and treated them on an equal with men. And in some cases, as a mother for instance, clearly gave them priority over men. When a man asked Prophet Muhammad, "Who is most entitled to be treated with the best companionship by me?" the Prophet replied, "Your mother." The man asked, "Who is next?" the Prophet said, "Your mother." Again the man asked, "Who is next?" the Prophet repeated, "Your mother." The man asked the fourth time, "Who is next?" the Prophet then replied, "Your father." On the another occasion, a man came to the Prophet Muhammad and expressed the desire to join in military. The Prophet Muhammad asked him if he had a mother. He replied that he had mother. The Prophet Muhammad advised him to stay with her, for paradise is at her feet. As daughters, women have a right to just and equitable treatment from their parents. The Prophet Muhammad gave glad tidings to those who did not insult their daughters. A woman has the right to accept or reject marriage proposals, and a consent is a prerequisite to the validity of the marriage contract. A marriage is based on mutual peace, love and compassion. The husband is responsible for the maintenance, protection and overall leadership of the family within the framework of consultation and kindness. Prophet Muhammad helped household works, although the responsibilities he bore and the issues he faced in the community were immense. The responsibility of maintaining social and moral values lies on both men and women. Both must refrain from all deeds and gestures that might stir the passions of people. Women are entitled to freedom of expression just as men are. Among the early Muslims, women participated in public life, especially in times of emergencies. It is reported in the Quran and in history that women not only expressed their opinion freely, but also argued and participated in serious discussions with the Prophet Muhammad as well as with other Muslim leaders. They were not shut behind iron bars or considered worthless. Islam grants women equal rights to contract, to enterprise, to earn and possess independently. A woman's life, her property and her honor are sacred as those of a man. If she commits any offense, her penalty is no less or more than of a man's in a similar case. If she is wronged, she gets due compensation equal to what a man in her position would get. Islam has given women a share of inheritance. Before Islam, women were not only deprived of that share but were themselves considered as property to be inherited by men. Out of that transferable property, Islam made an heir, acknowledging the inherent individuality of women. Whether the woman is a wife or mother, a sister or daughter, she receives a certain share of the deceased kin's property. A share that depends on her degree of relationship to the deceased and the number of heirs. This share is hers and no one can take it away. Women are exempt from all financial liabilities. As a wife, a woman is entitled to demand her prospective husband a suitable dowry that will be her own. She is entitled to complete provision and total maintenance by the husband. She does not have to work or share with her husband the family expenses. After marriage, whatever she possessed before it, and the husband has no right to any of her belongings. As a daughter or sister, she is entitled to security and provision by the father and brother. If she wishes to work or be self-supporting and participate in handling the family responsibilities, she is quite free to do. It is clear that the status of women in Islam is very high. Islam has granted them rights that match beautifully with their duties. What Islam has established for women is that which suits their nature, gives them full security and protects them against disgraceful circumstances and uncertain channels of life.